Mexican cartels have the spyware that the Israeli government uses to spy on Palestinians, and now Mexico can use it on Americans. They can get into your phone. They can see everything you do, everything you search. They also can do what's called a room tap, meaning they use the phone's camera and microphone to spy on you wherever you are, putting your kid to bed, what have you. Now, the Epoch Times reported this in depth, but this is actually not brand new information. What's new is that we are at war with the cartels and how it can be used against us. So pay attention. It's called Pegasus, and it can get into your phone even if you don't click. It's called no-click malware because you don't have to click a link to get it. And it can detect when it's draining your battery and then pause itself so you don't know that it's there. This is terrifying. Now, to be clear, absolutely clear about Pegasus, it was developed by an Israeli firm called the NSO Group, not the Israeli government themselves. Israel has never admitted to use it, but it was found on Palestinian officials' phones since at least 2021. Now, Israel never confirmed or denied that, but NSO, the software group that owns it, says that whenever they want to make a sale of their software, they have to get it approved by the Israeli Ministry of Defense. For every time someone wants to use this Pegasus software, Israel's government has to sign off on it, which would mean that Israel has signed off, our greatest ally, has signed off on Mexico having this spyware, and now they might use it against us. That's fun, right? So let's rethink this biggest ally bit. Now, in Greek mythology, Pegasus is a winged horse with magical powers that can go between the mortal and immortal worlds. It's like a unicorn without the horn. The software Pegasus has similar magical abilities because it can jump digital boundaries. It was developed when governments realized that a wiretap would no longer work because of encryption. So they need to hack your phone, the phone itself, not the data transfer. Now, this was reported by the author Nicole Perlroth from the New York Times. She was the one who covered the Edward Snowden leaks when they broke. And she reported it in the New York Times in 2016. I want to refer to her reporting because I think she does a good job of saying exactly what this does in this book. So let's talk about it. And again, hold on to your butts. Now, she says that by hacking the endpoints of the communication, the phone itself, NSO can access data before it was encrypted on the device. Now, these two people, Julio and Levy, they pitched this as not remote access technology, but instead now government surveillance, and they called it Pegasus, like the mythical winged horse it was named for because it can do the impossible, capture vast amounts of previously inaccessible data. Phone calls, text messages, email, contacts, calendar appointments, GPS location, Facebook, WhatsApp, and Skype without leaving a trace. And it can do what NSO calls a room tap, gather sounds and snapshots in and around the room using the phone's microphone and video camera. And it can deny targets access to certain websites and applications and grab screenshots off their phone. It can record your every search and browsing activity. And one of the biggest selling points is that it's battery conscious, which means that when you have spyware, you notice your phone is beginning to be drained. The battery starts to go down. But Pegasus can see when it's killing your battery life, shut itself down, and then wait for the target to connect to Wi-Fi so it can keep spying on you. Now, they say that NSO had already sold it, now look here, to two eager customers, Mexico and the UAE. And they are now also offering it to other governments in Europe and the Middle East. She says that also the Italians are scurrying to protect as many people from NSO as possible, and longtime clients in Mexico and the Gulf threaten to take their business to do business with the Israelis. Mexico and the UAE. So someone in Mexico has had this at least since 2016, and the Trump and the Biden White House knew it. Right? So who in Mexico would need this?
There was a journalist that was killed in 2017 who was an investigative journalist who was going after the cartels, and you had the shady Mexican leaders in Mexico who specifically made the deal with NSO Group got the software and were able to facilitate giving this so they could target journalists and go after cartel opposition.
Well, NSO had told her, the reporter, that 3 Mexican government agencies had it, and accordingly they are the country's Center for Investigation and National Security and Attorney General Office and its Department of Defense. Well, if you know anything about Mexican politics, it's that the cartels are involved in the government, right? They are infiltrated. The NSO says, well, they're so proud that the Mexican government used this to catch El Chapo Guzman, the famous drug lord. But when she investigated further, she found it also, as Clayton just said, was used on journalists and also, strangely, experts who had covered government corruption and were in favor of a soda tax, because that was big money in Mexico. And again, can you protect yourself from it? Not really, because you don't have to click it to put it in. They can just do it. And in fact, it costs about $500,000 per install for both iPhones and Androids.
All right, breaking right now, reports of a confession posted on Discord from Charlie Kirk's suspected assassin hours before, after the murder, but hours before his father turned him in to authorities in Utah. This is Washington Post reporting on this at this point. Justice correspondent David Spunt joining me now live from Washington. Hi, David. What can you tell us?
Hi, Martha. About 2 hours before he was turned into authorities, this, according to the Washington Post, we are working to independently confirm this as well. But the Washington Post says that Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old suspect charged in Charlie Kirk's murder, confessed. And I want to read this according to the Washington Post, writing on Discord, that social media chat group that the FBI says he used, quote, "Hey guys, I have bad news for you all. It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this." This coming from the Washington Post. Now, this comes as DOJ officials began late last week and over the weekend looking at the potential for at least one federal charge. No guarantee they'll get there. A department spokesperson declined comment, but a source familiar said investigators are not ruling anything out at this time, especially his online gaming presence, his chats, as we just mentioned. Who was he talking to? What did he say? FBI Director Kash Patel said this earlier this morning. Watch.
He had a text message exchange, he, the suspect, with another individual, in which he claimed that he had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and he was going to do it because of his hatred for what Charlie stood for.
This investigation is just begun. This isn't even the beginning of the beginning. You know, yes, we have a subject in custody. You know, everybody's innocent until proven guilty in our constitutional republic. However, this is not done by any stretch.
Patel also batting down criticism from some even on the right about his handling of the probe. He put out a social media post hours after Kirk died saying that there was a subject in custody only to be released, and he addressed that, saying that he could have worded it a little bit better. Today at the FBI, history was made when former Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey became the co-deputy director along with Dan Bongino. When we asked what this means, all parties involved on the record say this is a positive move for the Bureau. Martha.